He spent 10 days killing Angela Craig. Angela Craig was innocent. James Craig is guilty.
The prosecution wrapping their closing arguments in a trial 2 years in the making, and the case against a former Aurora dentist accused of poisoning and killing his wife. Denver 7 is on verdict watch tonight as the jury deliberates. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Micah Smith. Angela Craig was only 43 years old and a mother of 6 when she became sick and desperately searched for answers to figure out why. Investigators argue the answer was her husband, James Craig, who they say poisoned her through protein shakes. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon has been in the courtroom every step of the way. Colette, the jury has a lot to consider tonight.
Testimony from nearly 50 different witnesses in this 2-week trial. And obviously the biggest charge facing James Craig is that first-degree murder charge. But if the jury decides to acquit him on that, then they could find him guilty of a number of lesser charges, one of those being manslaughter. And if they decided to go that route, they would essentially be agreeing with the defense team's claim that James Craig assisted Angela in her suicide. After 10 days of testimony about one marriage.
She is the ultra-marathon runner of dealing with this man's betrayal. But she couldn't outrun it in University Hospital.
Closing arguments were presented Tuesday morning in the trial against James Craig, the last chance for each side to win over the jury.
It is not as simple as they would like it to be.
Prosecutors claiming James Craig poisoned his wife, Angela, in March of 2023. Saying he had the motive to do so between financial issues and other women.
He wasn't willing to get divorced. Now, he wanted out of his marriage, that's for sure.
Defense attorneys, they argue the relationship was more complicated than it appears.
There was love in the relationship.
James Craig, a former Aurora dentist, pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, saying he ordered arsenic and cyanide at the request of Angela so she could take her own life.
Ask yourselves if that's a reluctant participant in a super secret suicidal pact or a man on a mission. There are so many false statements by this defendant, it's tough to keep track.
The extramarital affairs in this case are being used by each side in different ways.
They proved beyond a reasonable doubt that this guy was a pretty crappy husband. He cheated on his wife constantly.
With defense attorneys claiming it was common in the Craig marriage and not motive for murder.
He broke her heart. He broke her soul. He broke her. And we see it in her journal.
Ultimately, prosecutors believe James Craig gave his wife a lethal dose of cyanide while she was hospitalized on March 15th of 2023.
If he did this, why walk out and say, she's saying her arm hurts? Why not just sit in there and let the buzzers go off and go, oh my goodness.
10 days of testimony.
He spent 10 days killing Angela Craig.
With one jury left to make a decision. Remember, there are also 5 charges related to solicitation that were added on while James Craig was in jail. Now, they all relate to either perjury, tampering with physical evidence, or even him trying to solicit another inmate to kill the lead detective on his case. And with those solicitation charges come a number of different letters that James Craig allegedly wrote while he was in jail. We only heard portions of those in the courtroom, so the jury can go through the entire letter as they deliberate. They just got released for the day, so no verdict as of right now. We will be back here tomorrow morning and we'll stay on top of this verdict watch for you. We're live in Arapahoe County. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
That is a lot for the jury to consider. We'll check back in with Colette on Denver 7 News at 6 tonight. Thank you, Colette.
And in the meantime, you can reach out to Colette with your questions regarding the trial. Just scan the QR code on your screen or head to denver7.com. There you'll also find Denver 7's gavel-to-gavel coverage and interviews with courtroom experts.